Let me take you right into the heart of it. You ever see somebody build a house right on your land, smack in the middle, no shame? Like your family history means less than a slip of paper. That was my Thursday afternoon, end of September. Windows down, air sharp as new-cut cedar, my boots still muddy from Oregon. I came around the bend and stopped cold. Right there where the fence dips near the old gravel access was a two-story skeleton wrapped in Tyvek, 30 feet past where it had any business standing. Fresh survey flags everywhere, orange ribbons fluttering heavy equipment parked all tidy like somebody figured it was going to be here a while. Maybe you think, well, there must be some mix-up. A bad survey, a plat error, something honest. Let me tell you, nope. It was fraud dressed up in paperwork, and I saw it coming together the way you see a thunderstorm building over the ridge slow then all at once. That land's been in my family since 1952. 87 acres of hills, Timber Creek, and the old house my grandfather built with money from pouring concrete. He raised cattle there, cleared pasture, kept the woods wild for deer. My father kept it the same, never sold an inch, and when he passed 3 years ago, he left me the deed with a note. Don't let anyone take this from you. And I don't know about you, but when someone gives you that kind of instruction, you take it serious. So there I was, staring at this shiny new Lakeview Ridge HOA amenity home short-term guest stays banner, reading it twice, feeling my hands shake a little. I pulled out my phone and checked the county GIS. There's my line. There's the new house 20 feet minimum on my side. Every old fence post, every tree, all confirming what I already knew they'd built right into my history. The foreman walked up, clipboard in hand, high-vis vest, bright as a signal flare. "Can I help you?" he says, all businesslike. "Yeah," I say. "You're building on my land." He looked at his paperwork, looked at the house, and gave me that look. Contractors save for stubborn rocks. Annoyed, not worried. "The HOA fixed the plat," he said. "It's all permitted. Boundaries adjusted." He even handed me a card. Ron Callahan, HOA president. Give him a ring. Back in my truck, I pulled up the county records. There it was. Corrected plat, Lakeview Ridge. HOA filed April 12th. New boundary line shifted 30 feet onto my property. Surveyor error correction, it claimed. Sure. There was even an easement agreement with some LLC called Mitchell Ridge Holdings granting the HOA permanent rights. Problem is, I never set up an LLC. The land's in my name, same as always. So I called my attorney, David. Told him the whole mess. He said, "Don't touch anything. Send me everything you've got. This could be fraud." I spent that evening walking fence lines, snapping photos, dropping GPS pins. There's a cold anger that settles in your bones when you realize someone's banking on you being too distracted or too polite to notice they're stealing from you. Next morning, I'm at the county recorder's office when they open. Linda, the clerk, prints off everything, the plat, the easement, the building permit. All of it official looking, all of it bogus. She shakes her head, tells me if the paperwork looks right and there's a notary, we file it. We're not detectives. It's on the owner to spot trouble. At the assessor, same story. Your parcel's always been Mitchell, the clerk says, scrolling back through 70 years of records. No LLC, no split, nothing but my family's names in the chain. File an objection. Get a court order to void it, he tells me. At the permitting desk, the woman frowns. If your easement's fake, this permit shouldn't exist. I'll flag it for legal review, but I can't stop them unless the court tells me to. David and I meet that afternoon. He's calm, methodical, just the kind of lawyer you want when you're up against an HOA with deep pockets. "This is textbook fraud," he says. "You didn't consent. The house is trespassing. You can demand removal or do it yourself." I blink. Really, really. Document everything. Give them notice. Then take it down if they won't. Saturday, I'm back with the survey crew. Karen, the lead, checks every old marker, every line, and lays it out on her GPS. No ambiguity, she tells me. The structure's 22 to 38 feet inside your line. The corrected plat's a fiction. She hands me a USB with the whole survey and says, "If you need me to testify, I will." Monday. David drafts the demand letter, "Remove the house in 2 weeks, or we'll do it ourselves." I send it to the HOA, to Ron, to every board member. 2 days later, Ron calls. Wants a meeting at the clubhouse, big table, leather chairs, real estate swagger in his step. "Let's look at the facts," he says. "We have permits, recorded documents, everything's above board." David lays the survey in front of him. The corrected plat is void. The LLC never owned the property. "You're trespassing." The board gets defensive. "We trusted the developer. You should have asked permission before you built, I tell them. They threaten legal action, deep pockets, lawyers, all that. I just say, you built on my land. That's on you. After that meeting, we try for a court injunction just to stop construction while the title gets sorted. Judge denies it, says it's a civil matter, and if there's trespass, I have remedies. The HOA takes that as a green light and builds faster, figuring if the house is finished, I'll fold, rather than be the villain who bulldozes a brand new building. But I wasn't blinking. Karen updates her survey. David gets a title expert's opinion. The corrected plat is void, the easement's a fake. We send a final notice 10 days to remove the house or we'll do it. Ron's reply is all bluff and email bravado, keyboard cowboy. We're not scared. Day 11, I hire Alvarez and his demolition crew. Cameras rolling, every angle documented. The crew works careful, deconstructing, not smashing, stacking salvageable lumber rolling up the site. At 10:23 a.m., Ron shows up, furious, shouts at everyone, calls the cops. The deputies arrive, look at the survey, the deed, the easement. Civil dispute, they say. Property owners got the right to remove trespass. Ron threatens lawsuits, then drives off in a huff. By 5:15 p.m., the site's clean. The house is gone. I email Ron the invoice, $14,200, cost due in 30 days. 3 days later, the lawsuit lands on my porch, destruction of property, trespass, emotional distress for the neighbors. David reads it and laughs. This is going to get dismissed so fast. We answer file counterclaims, quiet title, trespass, slander of title, fraud, and costs. Attach everything, surveys, photos, removal invoice, sheriff's report. Discovery drags on for months, but in their own emails we find the smoking gun. The developer and board planned the whole thing. Saw the boundary problem, chose to fix it by filing a fake plat, creating an LLC to sign the easement and betting I wouldn't notice. The old board president admits it was just easier than asking permission. When the trial finally comes, the judge listens for a day, then writes 12 pages that could have been boiled down to one line: the land is mine, the plat's void, the easement's null, the house was trespass, and the HOA owes me for costs and attorney's fees. Judge even says when an entity files false instruments and builds on land it doesn't own, the law must respond clearly. And it did. Ron threatens to appeal, but the board finally accepts reality. They pay the judgment, void the fake records, and Ron resigns. I break up the foundation slab, donate the salvage, and send a letter to every household: the land's private, the boundaries marked, respect it, and we'll get along fine. A few folks ask for permission to use the old creek trail. I say yes in writing. No hard feelings. Sometimes I stand out there, boots in the same dirt my grandfather turned over 70 years back, and wonder how close they came to getting away with it. If I'd been gone a little longer, if I'd let myself get bullied, it could have been a different ending. But I kept the promise my dad left me. Don't let anyone take this from you. That's the lesson. Property law isn't flashy, but it works. Doesn't matter how many fake papers you file or how many lawyers you hire, if your name's not on the deed, you don't own it. The HOA learned that the hard way. So let me ask you, what would you have done? Would you have bulldozed the house? Settled for a payout? Or just walked away figuring it wasn't worth the fight? And have you ever had to stand up for something that belonged to your family, even when the odds seemed stacked against you? I'd love to hear your story, because out here sometimes the only thing between you and losing it all is the line you're willing to draw in the dirt.